Thank you for joining us at One Church. If you'd like to know more about us, you can simply visit our website, onechurchjoplin.org. We would like to stay connected with you throughout the week wherever you go, and the simplest way for you to do that is to like our Facebook page, where we post all of our content. And you can always come visit us Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. or 11 a.m. I believe that you're here for a reason, and God has something He wants to say specifically to you. And my hope for you is that by the end of this video, you feel closer to God than you ever have before.
Trust the name of Jesus. is tested like a covenant of old. Your love is enduring through the winter rain and beyond the horizon, with mercy for today. And faithful you have been, and faithful you will be. You pledge yourself to me, and it's why I sing. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Us whole, and you show the weakness, and your strength becomes our own. And you're making me like you, clothing me in white, bringing beauty from ashes. For you will have your bride, free of all my guilt and rid of all my shame, and known by my true name. And it's why I sing. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. You will be praised, you will be praised. With angels and saints we sing worthy are you, Lord. You will be praised, you will be praised. With angels and saints we sing worthy are you, Lord. You will be praised, you will be praised. With angels and saints we sing worthy are you, Lord. You will be praised, you will be praised. With angels and saints we sing worthy are you, Lord. And it's why I sing. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Sing it out this morning, church. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Bow your heads with me this morning. Dear Heavenly Father, God, I thank you for this wonderful day that you've given us, Lord. I thank you, God, for the opportunity to come to you, God, and to worship you, to pour our hearts out for you, God. And I pray that we can do that each and every day, Lord. I pray, God, that your hand will be upon the message today, Lord, and that we can take it with us throughout this week. I ask all these things in your wonderful holy name. Amen.
Amen. Give it up this morning. Amen, amen, amen. Good morning. Good morning. It's good to be here today. I'm excited to be here. My name is Shane. I'm the pastor here at One Church. I want to say thank you for joining us here today. If it's your first time here with us, we are privileged. We are honored that you would join us here for church today. So thank you so much. We're in the middle of a series called The Vow here at church. We are taking a pause. God just did so many great things this week that we want to talk about it. So I hope that you're okay with that, and we'll join back with our series. But we're excited just to share about what God's doing in some lives here at the church and what we got to experience last week. So we're going to talk about that today. So we're really excited about that. But here in a moment, we're going to give. We always worship, and we worship God through singing and lifting up our voices, but we also worship Him as we give. And so today I want to encourage you to join us in that. If you're a first-timer, if you've never joined us, if it's your first time here at church with us, here's what I would ask that you give today. Would you just let us know that you're here? There's a simple way that you can do that. You can let us know that you're here by there's a little orange card in the back of the chair in front of you. It says, "Hey!" Take that card out of the back of that chair, fill it out, and let us know that you're here. And here in a moment, you're going to see buckets that will go by. As those buckets go by, just drop that card in the bucket. And if you'd be so kind to share your address with us, we'd really appreciate it. We've got a gift for you. And if you give us the address, we can get that gift to you. So please be willing to share that with us. And for the rest of us, as we give, there's a few simple ways that you can give today. As the bucket goes by, simply drop something into the bucket. Or you can take that envelope in the chair in front of you. It's a white envelope. It's a tithing envelope. You can take that, put something in that, seal it up, write your name on it, and you can drop that in the bucket as it goes by. Or if you're one of those techie folks out there, you can take out your smartphones and you can go to our website, which is on the screen, www.onechurchjoplin.org, and you can go to the website and click on our giving tab, and you can give securely right there. Or if you're a texter, you can just text to give. And the number's right here. You can text the number 417-200-4104 and put that in there. And then when the text box comes up, put the amount you'd like to give in there, hit send, and follow the instructions. So it's simple, private, powerful, easy, and you can do it right there at your seat. So as we're doing that today, I'd like to pray. Heavenly Father, Jesus, thank you. Thank you for what we got to experience today in the first service. Thank you for your grace, which abounds more than we deserve. Thank you, Jesus. God, use this today. Multiply it in a way that we could never do on our own, Lord Jesus, to bring glory to your name. And Jesus, I love how you always bless the giver. So God, I ask that you would bless those that give today. God, we're already blessed to give, and I know that when we give, you continually make that available. We can bless others. So Jesus, we ask this in your mighty name today. Use us. Amen. So as you're doing that today, I'd ask that you check out the screens right here in front of you. We've got some announcements and then a great video of something that some kids are going to be really excited about. So check out the screen and we'll be back here in just a moment.
Hello, welcome to One Church, and thank you for being here this weekend. Before we continue on with the service, there are a few things coming up here for you and your family that I'd like to share with you. So check this out. There is a free family bowling event tonight from 5 to 8 p.m. at Grace Lane's Bowling Alley in Carthage. Make sure that you come out and be a part of the fun. Next Gen Youth is having a McAllister's fundraiser night Tuesday, March 13th from 5 to 9 p.m. The funds raised will help support our youth on their summer trip. United Youth is happening this month, Wednesday, March 14th at Journey Church. The doors open at 6 p.m. Sunday, March 25th at 6 p.m., comedian Paul May will be at One Church for a night of family-friendly comedy. This event has free admission, so don't miss out. Ladies, mark your calendars for March 31st for an upcoming women's event called Swap Meet. More details coming soon. Camp One Stay registration is officially open. You can register online at onechurchjoplin.org or you can sign up in the lobby at the store. A $50 camp deposit is required to hold a spot for camp. I want to thank you for being here with us today, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the service. If you have any questions about One Church or any of the events that we announce here today, all you have to do is stop back by the corner after the service, and someone back there would be more than happy to provide you with any information that you might need.
Bang, bang, won't stop till we're legend. Won't stop till we're legend.
About that, Camp Wanna Stay registration opens up officially today. I would encourage you to take advantage of early registration. You can get a cheaper cost. I think it's $25 cheaper if you take advantage of it before a certain date. So take advantage of that while it's available. Don't miss out on that. If you've never been to Camp Wanna Stay or you're not familiar with what Camp Wanna Stay is, Camp Wanna Stay is our own children's camp that we put on right here out in Saginaw, which is just south of town. We rent out the camp for the week, and we put on a camp like no other. We started doing it because we could do it cheaper, and our hearts were in it, and we wanted to be able to love on our kids. And what's neat about this is it's not just ours now. We have us, Journey Church, Destiny Church, The Light, and Impact Church all join us for kids camp that we put on, and we do it together. And it's neat. It's not something that we just send our kids there and they take care of it. We do it. So if that's something that maybe schedule-wise you could join us, that's what makes it the week is the volunteers, what we get involved, what we do. And I think that's one of the reasons the kids have such a great time is because our adults have such a great time. If you've never been a part of this, I would highly encourage you joining us. There's opportunities in the mornings, there's opportunities in the evenings. If you can only be there for one day, that's okay. Whatever you can join us for, we would love, and we'll make a spot for you. But we have such a great time. We do our own curriculum. There's skits that go on all the week that go along with the curriculum. There's fireworks. We put on a county fair. We do a talent show. There will be, I can't even think of all the things that we do. It's amazing. Laser tag. It's awesome. It is such a great week. A blacklight dance party one night. I mean, they just have a blast. The food is amazing. They get the full camp experience. They get to stay overnight. We do late night spooky hay rides with the older ones. It's so much fun. We try to give them that great kids camp experience that, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one that dreamed about that as a kid, but that's what we try to do is just give them the best week of their little lives, and we share Jesus with them in such an awesome way. Yeah. You want to talk? You're just excited? Yes. He's just excited. That video came on and he goes, "This is my favorite video." So we're so excited about that. So you can begin registering for that today. And I would just want to ask real quick, just by show of hands, how many of you in here have been to Camp Wanna Stay with us? You've helped or you've joined or you've been part of it? That is amazing. So you can also, next week is when you can start registering to be a volunteer. This week is when you can start registering kiddos. And so last week, how many kids did we have last year? Does anybody remember? A lot. It was awesome. So, what's that? More than 100, less than 1,000. So somewhere in that ballpark. So right there. But it was great. So anyway, would love for you to join us and be a part of that. Tonight, we've got something exciting happening, a great family activity. I love seeing all the stuff we've got going on here in the near future. Tonight, we have a family bowling night. It's going to be happening over at Grace Lanes in Carthage. And so we'd love for you to join us tonight. The cost to you will be $0. Shoes are taken care of. Bowling is taken care of. Just come and bowl with us. It's going to be a great time. I did find out for you adults that are awful bowlers like me, they have bumpers, okay? So we can pull those up. And they have the ramps, so they have those too. But there will be no cost to you. We would just love for you to come and hang out with us tonight. So Grace Lanes in Carthage, awesome environment. It's smoke-free, Christian environment. So come join us tonight. We'd love to have you there. Starts at 5 p.m. and goes to 8 p.m., correct? 5 to 8 p.m. So join us over there for that. And I think that that's all the announcements. I believe that's all the announcements. If not, my wife will let me know. So, all right, so do me a favor. With that being said, everybody stand up, find someone that you don't know, and welcome here to One Church this morning, front to back, left to right. Say hello to somebody today. Good morning. So like I said, we're in the middle of a series called The Vow. We're going to take a time out this week, okay? Next week, you don't want to miss. We have an awesome guy that's going to be speaking. How many of you guys have ever heard of a man named T.J. Britton? T.J. Britton. If you don't know TJ is amazing. If you were at Man Up with us last year, TJ spoke at Man Up. He came up one day and spoke. TJ, one of the most interesting guys I've ever met. He is now an MMA fighter, believe it or not. An MMA fighter. I think he is the tallest, like 135-pound fighter in the world. He's like 6'4", and he fought at 135 pounds. It's crazy because I'm 6'4" and I'm 345 pounds. And so anyway, I'm like 4 TJs. Let's just say that. So anyway, but he'll be here next week. Played semi-pro basketball at one time. He was the fastest junior in America in the 100-meter. Just an amazing athlete. Played basketball at Missouri Southern for a little while, and he's been a youth pastor, has an amazing heart for Christ, and he'll share a little bit about, I'm sure, his story, what God's done in his life. But anyway, he'll be here next week. T.J. Britton, you do not want to miss this guy. Just awesome. So we're going to be so blessed by him next week. But this week, here's what we're doing. 9 guys from our church had the opportunity to go south of the border this week. And when I say south of the border, I mean south of the border. It was 24 hours of driving. So the first day, it was like 14 hours from here to where we stayed in Edinburgh, Texas. And then we crossed over from there, and it was another 8 or so hours into what was called El Higo, Veracruz, Mexico. And this is not a destination for vacations. It's not a Cozumel. It's not anything like that. This isn't somewhere people go. And so for them, if they saw white people, you were there with the ministry that we serve. I mean, that's about all they see of outsiders, because it's just not a place you go for any other reason unless it's intentional. And so we had 9 folks go down. We have a ministry that's connected to our church here, believe it or not. About a year and a half ago, a family showed up here at church. The Thetgees showed up at church, and then they invited Mom and Dad. And so now Roger and Carolyn Tomlinson join us here at One Church. Carolyn more than Roger. Roger travels about 75% of the year. And so had the opportunity to meet them. But they have this ministry that's called Day Spring Outreach Ministries. And they do so much all over Mexico. One of their projects that they work with down there is this children's home. It's called Day Spring, Casa Day Spring in El Higo. They plant churches all over the country. How many churches have they planted in Mexico? Yeah, a lot. Like more than one, less than 100. So, all right, so lots of them. But just amazing. They minister in the rainforest down in Central America. There's tribal church they've put in like on this. It's a reservation down there, or a reservoir in the middle of an island, and they live in thatch huts. It's like Gilligan's Island, and they've planted churches there. You sleep in hammocks when you go work there. They're in the mountains down there. There's a ministry there in the mountains they work with. They have a school of discipleship. They have a ministry school down there. They've just amazing all the stuff that they have their hands in down there. But one of them that we got to be involved with was Casa Day Spring, and it's a children's home that has 20 children in El Higo. And so if you wouldn't mind, I would love today, we made a video, we'll share that video with you, but I would love for you to join us in hearing some of the stories of some of the guys that got to go with us, if you'd be okay with that today. It's just amazing to see what God did this last week, and they can share in such a beautiful way what God is doing down there. So would that be okay today? I'm really excited about it. The first service was awesome. So we're excited about this. So let me kind of get us going here. We're going to start off with a video. It's a 9-minute video, so if you need to use the restroom, go do that. If you need a coffee, go grab that. But it's a 9-minute video. And as we were putting this video together, I love technology. I did this all on my phone. It just blows me away. It was all done from the phone. But as we did that, I kept thinking throughout the week, what music do I want to put with this? What music would be great for this? And then it hit me. These little kids, they're not little, but, well, they are little, but there's an 18-year-old boy there named Ivan. He was the first child to show up at Dayspring. Plays guitar and sings, and every night they do worship before they go to bed. Every night they have a time where they sing and do worship, and Ivan would play guitar, and another one would play a cajon, and another one would play piano, and they play, and they're all self-taught. They all teach each other. And so Ivan is one of the young men that I grabbed, and I said, hey, I want to record you singing your favorite song. Would you do that for me? And then we're going to use that. I didn't tell him what we were using it for. I just said I wanted to record it. So that's the music that you're going to hear in the video. And there's another song in here. There's going to be a little young man that's singing in English. And I love to hear him sing in English, his little accent when he sings in English. So the first song you're going to hear is a young boy named Margarito. And he's 16 years old, looks like he's about 10. But he played and sang, and you'll hear more about him later. So the first song is a young man named Margarito, and the second song is in Spanish, but you're going to recognize the song is by a young man named Ivan. And then the last song you'll hear is just all the kids doing worship one night. And it's just beautiful. It's amazing. It'll touch your heart. And yeah, so grab a tissue and enjoy. So this was just a recap of last week, and during that, the guys will come up and we'll talk about it afterwards. So check it out. Mexican grub down here. And who do you think's going to eat it? Mr. Mike. Here we go.
Sabes tú mi petición antes de mi oración. Eres un buen padre. Eres tú, eres tú, eres tú. Soy amado por ti. Es quien soy yo. Es quien soy yo. Es quien soy yo. Este mundo está buscando respuestas sin cesar, mas yo sé que buscamos respuesta que tú solo das. Sabes tú mi petición antes de mi oración. Eres un buen padre. Eres tú, eres tú, eres tú. Soy amado por ti. Es quien soy yo. Es quien soy yo. Es quien soy yo. Porque es perfecta es tu voluntad. Es perfecta es tu voluntad. Es perfecta es tu voluntad en mí. Es perfecta es tu voluntad. Es perfecta es tu voluntad. Es perfecta es tu voluntad en mí. Es tu amor tan innegable que yo no puedo hablar. Paz tan inexplicable que ya ni puedo pensar. Ya más profundo me llamas, más profundo me llamas, más profundo en tu amor. Amor, eres un buen padre. Eres tú, eres tú, eres tú. Soy amado por ti. Es quien soy yo. Es quien soy yo.
Grab that one too, Mike. That'd be awesome. So you got to hear, I thought it was so neat today that it wasn't planned, but during worship today, you may have recognized the song that the kids were singing at the end, Amazing Grace. And then the other one was Good, Good Father. I don't know if you recognize that, him singing in Spanish, Good, Good Father. But you may have noticed, you may have heard like semi-trucks, things like that in the background. I took them out to the garage. It was the only place I could find with a door that we could go record a song while we were there. So it's funny. In here, it was the first time I could hear it. When you're hearing it on the phone, I couldn't hear that all of a sudden. But you hear semi-trucks and things like that driving by because we just recorded it in the garage down there. But anyways, this is all the group except for one. Jeremy had to go. He manages Sutherland's, and he had to go to the store, so he had to leave, so he's not going to be here to join us for this. But I also asked Whitney. I don't know if you've met Whitney. This is Whitney Thetge. She is part of this ministry, Dayspring Outreach Ministries down in Mexico. And she is actually on staff with us at the church as well. She helps us with our accounting, finances, things like that. And it was really neat because that's what she has experience in is nonprofit accounting. She also does that for Dayspring. So it's just really cool to see how God provides the need. And but through this, I had the opportunity to meet Roger Tomlinson, who is Whitney's stepdad. And it's really neat. He has been very lovingly persuasive. Like, you've got to go down. You need to go down and check this out. You need to just see it firsthand, and he's exactly right. You have to go down. And so that was what our heart was this week, is for you to kind of hear from some of these guys that got to experience this week with us. And just I wanted them, you hear me speak every week, but I wanted them to be able to share with you just what God is doing in their hearts and how this trip impacted them. But Roger, I met with him. We tried to do a trip earlier in the year, and it just didn't work out for some reason. And then I said, hey, we're going to go in March. This is when we're doing it. And little by little, I connected with these guys or their wives or something like that. Somehow we got connected and said, hey, what would you think about it? So these are the guys that made the trip with us. I loved it. One day, I was over at Israel's office for a lunch. They were having a benefit lunch, and I went in his office and sat down with him. And I was like, hey, you need to go to Mexico with us. We're going down on a mission trip. And it was like, that was all I said. Like, there was no persuasion or anything. He just pulls out his wallet and he says, what's it going to cost? And I said, $200. And he goes, okay, take it before I spend it, because I'll spend it. And like right there on the spot, that was literally the whole conversation. And then he's like, where are we going? And so, I mean, it was just like, that was it. He was just in. And Michael was in. He thought we were going to Africa. And, Michael was in for Africa too, so it was amazing. He was telling his dad about the trip, and he's like, hey, what part of Africa are we going to? And I said, Mexico? And he's like, oh, well, I'm in for that too. Sounds good. So God pulled some willing hearts to join in with us this week. But as I went with Roger, he just shared with what was going on down there. And this place has an amazing, amazing story. And I don't know that anyone's really captured the story. So literally Wednesday night, I'm meeting with a film crew, some people that make Christian movies, because the story down there is remarkable. It just needs a screenplay. It writes itself. They don't have to add anything to it. There's a villain. There's God comes out on top. You have the stories, the overcome. I mean, it's just amazing. We'll talk a little bit about that today. But let's just kind of start right here. I've got some pictures I want to share that'll kind of paint the picture here as we go. This right here, this is at our hotel. This is the electrical outside at our hotel. And I bring this up because many of you scoffed when you found out that Chance and I were the electricians on this trip. And I just want to show you that this is the standard in Mexico. And so Chance and I, we both feel that it would be wise to put a cover over that. So we're ahead of the curve in Mexico. But that's actually at the hotel, like right there on the sidewalk where everybody walks by. That's the electric at our hotel. And you can see another one here. Here's the power lines right next to our hotel. Like right, see the bird's nest of the wires there? Yeah, that's our window right there. Someone's window at the hotel, and you can just reach out and grab it. And so you should feel good about Chance and I running electric at this orphanage. And it's good to know that there's also not a stitch of wood in the entire place. So when our faulty wiring shorts or has a problem, it's all concrete. Nothing will burn. So anyway, what else? What's the next picture we have up there? So this is the kids. There's 20 kids, and they prefer, there's a couple that are the directors down there, David and Christina. They're the mom and dad at this children's home. And I was listening one day. It was really sweet to hear Christina would prefer that it's called a children's home and not an orphanage. Yes, basically the same thing. But she said that she wants it to be called a home because that's what it is. It's a home. It's not an orphanage. An orphanage is impersonal. It's not intimate. And that's what this is it's their home. And so that's why it's called Casa Dayspring. Dayspring House, is that what that would be? Dayspring House. It's their home. It's not an orphanage to her. This is her home. These are her children. And so the man in the top right corner there, way up here on the top right, top row, far right, that's Ivan. He was the first child that they had when they began the children's home. And he was the young man you heard on the recording that was singing in Spanish, playing the guitar. So that's Ivan. And I was amazed, it was just right when we got there, as I'm sure some of the other guys were. These children are, they're all dapper. They've got fresh haircuts. They're all freshly combed hair, clean. I was amazed at the care that they receive. This was tie-dye day. Those are the shirts they made. But something I was amazed to see on some of the kids, like Ivan, which is up at the top right, and the young man right in front of him with the big smile on his face. That was the other guy you heard singing. His name is Margarito, and he's 16, believe it or not. He looks like he's about 11, 10 years old. But they had braces. And so I was amazed by that, to see these kids. They're getting care. You don't see any other kids in Mexico with braces like in their circle.
Braces are a lot cheaper in Mexico. I wish I could take Bailey to
Yes,
Mexico and get braces.
so it was amazing at the border. They were like, braces, $100, and I was like, really? No. So anyway, but I was just amazed. You see these kids. They're getting care. It was wonderful. But anyway, you'll see the back row. Some of the older kids. We'll talk about them. There's some sibling groups in here. There's one family group of five. And then another of what, 3 or 4? Noe's family? Maybe 3 or 4? Yeah.
They all run together for me.
So some of them, it's neat to see how this happened. And I'll let you kind of share that story about how there's these family groups. So Ivan was first.
Ivan came to us 6 years ago. He didn't know anything really. He didn't know his letters. He didn't know his numbers. And now Christina homeschools all these kids with assistance from another guy. His name is Augustine. And they homeschool all of them. And the older boys are getting ready to get their certificate to finish their schooling. And I can't remember how fast Ivan caught up, but it was extremely fast.
Yeah.
And how much because when he came to us from the streets, and he had no schooling.
1 year.
Yeah.
Amazing. And Ivan now wants to go to college.
Yeah.
And it was neat to hear about that. But they were all intelligent. The little boy here in the front row on the left, his name is Noe. I think he's 4.
Yeah.
4. And he was reading the Bible. He's doing addition. I'm like, excuse me? And he was writing like 432 plus 647 and like writing that out. He's 4. It was blowing my mind. So I truly do feel that just God is blessing what is happening there. So anyway, but then also these children, they don't just get taken care of. They're an active part of everything that happens there. So you'll notice in the video as we go and we work at the orphanage during the day, I guess it's maybe the teenage boys.
Yeah, the older boys.
The teenage boys come over and they work hand in hand. They don't just work, they outwork us. We would take breaks and they would laugh at us. Talkie, we'll talk about that. And but they would come over and they would work with us. But what's so neat about this is, they're learning to read. They're getting a biblical education. They're getting an education. They're learning a skill. They're learning a trade. They're part of every bit of building this house, this orphanage, the home that they're building. Literally, I don't know if you could tell from the video how primitive the building techniques are, but it blew my mind. I got more used to it as the week went on. But the first day Roger took us over there, and you see the stuff they're building with, you're just like, huh, really? Because the wood that they rented, the rented wood, is literally like you went to the woods and you cut down a tree, and that's what they're using for all the concrete bracing and all the forms and things like that. It still has bark on it. That is the concrete form, and that's rented wood. You got to bring that back, and it was just blowing my mind. And everything there is just they make their own bricks. That you said they.
We bought a few years ago when we started this project. We bought our own block machine to make the concrete blocks. This is the first time we've ever done that, and it was so that these older boys would learn a trade. Shane mentioned in the last service that it's a blue collar city, and that the main trade is sugar cane, and there's a sugar factory, and we wanted them to have something besides that. And so these boys have made every block that has built this building, and will continue.
Thousands.
Yeah, and now they have a trade in something besides sugarcane or going to something like back to the drugs or things like that.
Yeah. So I've talked enough. Here's what I'd love to do with these guys. Oh, wait, no, I have to share a little bit more. So let's see. Is there a picture of Israel and his friend? Okay, yeah, this is David and Christina. So the girl there in the plaid shirt and the man next to her in the aqua shirt there, they're the mom and dad, the directors of this place, and they're phenomenal, just amazing. They spoke English as well, so it was really neat to be able to build a relationship with them this week. They run the children's home. They manage the groups that come through there and work with all them. And then you'll notice, like this man sitting next to her, he's down there. He's a worker that's been hired. His name's Adan. But he's been hired to help build the children's home. There's a few guys that are local there that are just amazing men that have been hired on. You know, David works with them and manages that. And it's just amazing to see the amount that's just normal that they cover, that they do. It'd be enough for any family to raise 20 children, but on top of that, hey, how about you host a group of 15 coming into your house every once in a while and manage the workers. But they're just phenomenal people. But we'll talk a little bit more about them. So that's them. And the little guy with the guitar right there, that's Margarito. That's a 16-year-old boy. Amazing. He doesn't look that old, but just a sweet spirit. He was the one. He's the animal whisperer. They've got dogs. They have pigs. They have chickens, and all of them answer to him. He's the leader of that pack. And so the next picture here you'll see. This is Israel. Right here, Israel joined us on the trip, and this here next to him is a young man named Jorge. His name's Jorge, but when Americans are there, he wants to be called George. And but Jorge and Israel developed quite a rapport while we were there this week, and it was so fun to watch these guys just give each other guff like brothers the whole week we were there. But you heard him say earlier their work ethic. Here, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, these guys, the four that were on the top of the picture, the four oldest, they work like men, and not like normal men. They work like harder than anybody I've seen on a regular basis. They never get tired. They may get tired, but you don't know it. They don't quit. They don't complain. They always have a smile on their face. If we'd stop to take a break, they would say, talkie, which means quit talking.
Get back to work.
They said it quite often. But it's literally 95 degrees. We're loading shovel after shovel after shovel of dirt. And they never, ever quit or complain. They always smile. They always have great conversation. We were working and got done with the dirt. And the backhoe drives by on the road, which is, I'm going to say, couple of 100 yards away, and I look over at David, who runs the he's the manager, one of the directors, and I said, David, how much does it cost to rent a backhoe? And he said $20 for a half hour. I look at him like, we had 4 guys working very, very hard for 2 days straight, which would have taken a backhoe 30 minutes to do it. I mean, I'm like, man, next time, just say $20 and you don't have to shovel, and it will be done. But they don't think like that. Obviously funds are tight for them, and they just grind it out. They work so hard, and their attitude is so good. It's that in itself was a blessing for me to see is how hard these guys will work and have a great attitude, and still, we can't really communicate very well with each other. But you can see the spirit in them. They didn't have to talk. The spirit in them was a strong Christian, loving spirit. And where their family, their biological family may be far away, you can definitely see the family bond within each other, between everybody, especially with David and Christina and the kids. It was insane. It was amazing.
Beautiful. So Israel was popular in Mexico. So the day we get up from the bunkhouse to head into Mexico, Israel had his outfit on. Can you show? Yeah. So
I make Dora look bad.
we were all just chuckling at his outfit in general, like, oh man, you look good. And then we find out someone tells us, like, that's exactly Dora's outfit. The colors, the backpack, and everything. And so there could not have been a character that he could have been that would have transcended languages any better than Dora. So the whole week, George called him, oh, Dora! Every time you see him, oh, Dora! And they'd be like, where's Diego? And where are you going? Build the house. And it's just so funny. The whole week we're there. And so he was quite a character. And then he took it to a whole nother level. He completed the ensemble with his socks. So
I don't have white socks.
He got those from his daughter's drawer. That was good. So anyway, what I would love to ask these guys to share right now, like I said, you hear me all the time, but I wanted them to be able to share what was share about this trip, what it meant to you, what was most impactful, what was something that just, share.
Well, to me, what was most impactful to me, I mean, there was a lot of things that stuck out, but what these kids have been through, the stories that they have, the pain that they felt, the heartache, everything that they felt, and they still smile every day. They still work every day. There's just not, if it were me, I would probably still be holding a grudge. Now that I'm 40, I would still be holding a grudge from when I was 12, just from what they've been through. And, they talked about it when they gave their testimony. But that's what hit me the most. The last day we were there, everyone was singing, and I was sitting on the ground and just watching all the kids and thinking what they've been through, and I had to get up and get away. I mean, I didn't want to old man cry in front of everyone, but it was tough, just to see, and Shane said in the first service, they don't have a choice. That they are at that house. They don't have a choice. It's not like they can be adopted out, and there's just a lot of rules and regulations in Mexico. But, the food, David and Christina have about 50 cents a day to feed each kid. We ate very well. I mean, we weren't hungry. There was always food for seconds, and everything was fresh. And, but one of the kids, Margarito, I believe, when he got there, he was eating, and he grabbed some tortillas and put them in his pocket. And David said, what are you doing? And he said he wanted to make sure he had food for the next time he was hungry. And that's what these kids, they always think about that next meal, because they don't know if it's going to come. It might be a couple days before they eat anything. So for me to hear that, it's just phenomenal from where they've been to where they are now, and they always have a smile on their face. They give you a hug. We were fist bumping a lot of them, high fives. They're just very happy kids.
I guess for me, the greatest, or one of the parts that really stuck out for me is it actually came on the second day. And first day we were pretty busy and we're meeting all the kids, and that part was awesome. But we heard a few testimonies of a couple of the kids, older kids. But as you get to talk to and interact with the directors and the other folks, is that you're starting to realize that without Dayspring outreach, without those everybody, Roger, Carolyn, David, and Christina for sure, like El Pastor Shane said, that you don't have to add drama to this story. The kids in this picture, most likely the only choice they have was this, or probably death. I mean, that sounds dramatic. Oh, wow. That's a true story. I mean, they probably wouldn't be here. And when you get to looking at them and you think, hey, wait a minute, these kids wouldn't, whoa, hey, this isn't right, But these people have really done the Lord's work. And the other thing that I really noticed was when you hear some of the testimony, and Shane will tell a little bit of this, I went through emotions like trying to get Chance and I and Israel were going to figure out where to get the key to get the van, because we're going to help somebody arrange a meeting to meet God. Because you go through all the emotions. But what I found totally amazing, and it changed me and my perspective, is the faith that they have, and the Lord has taken away that pain. They know it happened, believe me, but you couldn't tell it. I mean, and when I say it, I mean, it's not like they're hiding it. This is how they are. I mean, it just showed me, we think we have problems, and when you hear their story, ooh, you don't have problems.
Yeah.
The thing that got me the most was that the older boys, they're all, there's 2 that are 18, one's 17, he's 18 actually this month, and then Benito is 16 years old. I'm 18, and I think that sometimes, like, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to clean my room. I don't want to do the dishes. I think I have all these problems, but just the stuff they've been through after hearing their testimonies and the things they've heard their parents say. One of them, he said that he remembers his mom saying, take it. I don't want it. Talking about her own child. And I think about that. My mom and dad, they love me so much, and they'd do anything for me, and that I have this amazing life here. And still sometimes I find myself just struggling. And they have so much faith in God through all of it. They have so much happiness and everything, no matter what they've been through, what their lives have, what has happened in their life. Shane will share here in a minute about Benito, but that one was probably one of the biggest ones for me. And he's just crazy to me. And like George, we were talking, and when he first came, I was talking to Christina, and she said that he was a little tough. He was angry and just rough to deal with. But then the first summer came around, and they were somewhere, and he gave his life to Christ. And she said that moment, all of the anger and everything went away, and he changed completely. And just hearing that, it's just crazy because of the stuff he had been through. But he had changed completely and had come up so much. He actually ended up going back to his grandma and taking care of her until she passed away a year ago, I think. And then he went somewhere with an uncle or something, but then came back to the casa. But just after everything he'd been through, he was able to come back from it and just be having that much faith. But
sure.
We all went down there wondering what we could do to help and how to make it better. And I think we all kind of figured out that we really didn't go down there for them. We ended up going down there for us. And actually, the part that amazes me is that the stories are tragic and the background's horrific and things that I've never even imagined someone going through. But the part that's beautiful to me is that this town, this El Higo, like Shane mentioned, there's no people come to visit. I mean, it's a blue-collar sugar factory town, and everyone's connected to that in some way. The town is surrounded by sugar cane and, tire dealerships and, auto mechanics, and they sell oil, everything you need to get your product to the sugar factory. But the town is being changed by this group of people. We're the Casa Gringos. We are the white people that are there. And the only reason we're there is because this Casa, but they're pretty impacted by the kids because they feel that something's different about them. There's something special about what these kids are like, because everywhere they go, they're behaved and happy and kind and helpful. Every time they promote through school, their grades are stellar. Their performance is just blowing everyone away. Some of those kids weren't even supposed to get past middle school because they had learning disabilities, and they're graduating high school. They're going to go to university. The local people that own the hotel, they invite the Casa kids over for Christmas and have a party with them. There's a tortilla place in town that gives them hundreds of tortillas a day just so they can have extra food. They became friends with the hardware. I mean, all the business people that are in town are being impacted, and they're feeling the love and the pull of Jesus, and so they're changing the world. David and Christine lived in Atlanta for more than a decade. Her son is a U.S. soldier, in Afghanistan right now. When you saw the picture of Dora on the TV, there's a blue Ford in the back. That had Kansas plates from Columbus Ford. The couple down there that stays for the summer live in Pittsburgh, Kansas. So, this is not just something that we went and helped some kids no one's ever going to know of. These guys are making the world different, and they're changing this whole community. And that's what the part that blew me away is that, your support and taking your time to go down there and help them, not only does it help you, but it changes everything. More than the kids, it changes everything around them. So I can't stress that enough, that, this really does have an impact much greater than just the cute little 4-year-old in the bottom corner.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the stories that really impacted me, there's a young man in the top center there. If you could show his picture of him smiling. Right here. This is Benito. And Benito was, I think, one of the first, maybe the first or second one I met, came up and hugged me. Benito, there were 2 siblings that showed up. And then Benito shows up at this children's home. Well, then come to find out, when Benito showed up, he knew he had siblings, but he didn't know that they were there. And then when he gets there, he gets connected with 2 of his, so the 3 of them are together now. Like I said, some of them are they're children of prostitutes and such. And then just 2 weeks ago, 2 more children showed up. There were a brother and a sister, and that was 2 more of their siblings. So this home existing there has restored their family back together. They don't have their parents, but the 5 of them have found each other. The birth certificates match, things like that, and now they're all together. They have their family. And it was amazing. Diego on the second day, Benito gave his testimony the second day we were there. And I don't know if you can really tell it from the picture. You see the big smile, but I don't know if you can see on the left side of his head there. He doesn't have an ear, and that's not a birth defect. This is the young man that his mom gave him away to a foster family. I don't want it. Gave him away to a foster family. And then when the foster family took him, they tortured him and they abused him. And his mom divorced that husband, and the next man that she brought in did the same. And it's not just physical. There were other things done as well. But if you'll see there, he's missing his left ear because it was cut off. He's missing his left thumb because it was cut off. You can't see on the back of his head. He's missing a portion of his skin in the back of his skull where he's been tortured. He was electrocuted. He was burned. But it just amazed me as he gave his testimony that morning. This is the young man you saw. The whole week we were there. This is the smile. Talk about the forgiveness, what Christ can restore. You didn't see an angry young man. You saw a man that, as I left, he came up to me and he gave me a picture. It was a little picture of him hanging to take with me. So, no forget. And just fell in love with him. But he would work with us during the day, and he had this pride when he would work. He works and wants to be accepted by men, and he has this drive to him when he would work. And when he walks like this. He just has this drive to him, this existence to him. There's a pride to him. He's not trying to hide and just exist. God has restored this young man. But it was just amazing to see that. But then what was beautiful was after he gave his testimony, without prompting, without asking, his 4 siblings that were there sitting with us under that tent, as soon as he finished, he was crying. He was emotional. But what I said was amazing from what I can recall. He wasn't crying as he talked about what had been done to him. He didn't cry over, they cut off my ear, they cut off my thumb. What he cried from was what God is doing in his life, what He saved him from, what He's doing, what God is doing in his life right now. That's when he got emotional. Being with his family, being at the casa, having a family, having people love him. That's when he cried. That's when he got emotional. And so you see him, as soon as he finished, all of his siblings, there's a 2-year-old little girl, I don't know how old they all are, but there's 5 of them. They all just get up and walk up to him, and they just embrace him. They hug him. I'm just thinking about my little 3 daughters that they don't get up and do that. They don't walk over to each other when one of them's crying and console each other like they don't. And no adult, this whole time we were there, can you imagine having 20 kids 24 hours a day? They don't go on vacation. They don't go, they're at the casa. They worked all day. They came home. They had some worship. They went to bed. They get up the next day. They go to school. They're there together 24 hours a day. Not one time that whole week did I hear one adult get onto those kids and be like, hey, you know what? Shape up. Come on. Not once. There was never discipline. They didn't need to. Every time that they went somewhere, when it was time for it, they all line up like this with their hands behind their back, shortest to tallest. And it was so funny. Dave and Christina are saying, we didn't tell them to do that. They just, there was never a day where it's like, this is how we do it at the casa. They just do that on their own. It's like, so they make sure that everyone can see the direction. So you got the little 2-year-old in the front. She's the newest one, standing there with her hair, and then that's the way they walk. And it blew me away. And then when it was time to work, they go work. When it was time to clear the table, they just do it. A little Margarita would go feed the animals, and there was no David was like curious. He's like, oh, did he feed him today? Because he doesn't have to tell him. He cares. And it was just, it blew my mind. Like, we need to go take parenting classes from David and Christina. Like, I was like, can we bring you to America? It blew my mind. The only thing I could attest to was what God is doing there. When you just see the joy, the overwhelming joy, the smiles, the authentic smiles. And I mean, I was just thinking about teachers in the United States, how we're just like, oh, it's at the end of the day, I can't believe I've had these kids all day. And, you know, they're not all that way. But Augustine, the guy that helps teach these kids, he's in there with them. And it's like a one-room schoolhouse from 2 years old to 18. They're all in there together. He teaches them all. He's teaching them math. He's teaching them reading, geography, history. He's doing it all. And the little girl in the middle there, that's Zulema. That's a little girl. They shaved her head because she had lice. She just came to the orphanage or the children's home. But even her, she's in there in the classroom, and he's taking care and teaching her as well. And so here she is with a coloring thing. He's like, Azul, blue. You color blue now. And he would just make rounds. And I'm just watching him like, it's blowing my mind. Blowing my mind. 20 kids, all different ages, keeping up with them, and then the guy, Augustine, he was there from the time we got there till the time we left every night, so he's there 15 hours or 16 hours a day. And I'm just like, blowing my mind. So, I don't know. It's just our culture and their cultures are completely different, you know. We have to medicate our culture and deal with stuff because what we feel is stressful, and it's a blessing. It blew my mind. It blew my mind the whole time we were there. So, but as we can close today, I just share this because, man, it was such an impactful week. I'm so thankful for this ministry. I'm so thankful that these people, the family that organized this, go to church here. We're so thankful that we got to be a part of it. We just wanted you to experience a little bit of what is going on down there. And as we talk about this ministry in the future, we are doing more trips. There will be family trips that go down. It must happen. And I urge you, friends, to make this part of your plans in the future, to be a part of it. How much was the passport card? $50?
80, I think, for a passport card, maybe.
Yeah, you got a passport, but there's it looks like a driver's license. You don't have to have the full book. It's like $80. For the work trip, for us to go down on the work trip, sure, I would do the passport if you can, but I'm just saying it's affordable. Yeah, $25 at the border. Get the passport if you're going to get the full one. But what was amazing, as we go down there, I lost my train of thought. For the work trip, to go down and do the work trip, that was $200. $200 for us. That took care of your housing. We stayed at the border, your food. What's their food budget a month? A month, right? A week. They feed the kids down there for $165 a week. The workers, the adults, and the kids for $165 a week. Blew my mind.
It's getting bigger with
I believe it.
That many kids. She also said it was a lot more with you guys there.
I would believe it. I believe I was 160 myself. The whole week I kept looking at this saying, like, God, you're doing magic with numbers that I just don't understand. So, but you can go down on a work trip. It's just phenomenal. Just an amazing ministry. So in the future, we'll do more trips. I hope that this is something you would consider. The last thing I want to close with today is this. We actually met this need, but I want to bless them. Can you show the picture of David and Christina? Just the kind of hearts that are down there. Christina, we found out we were there. She spent a night in the hospital. Didn't even realize it. And dealing with kidney stones. And
Christina usually doesn't tell us things until after it's happened. So.
Yeah. So she just doesn't complain, goes about her day. But that was a cost of in Mexico for her to treat and do all that was $1,500. And what amazed me was, it was just they go on faith. It's just faith that they're operating on. That people would see the need and do something about it, and that's how they operate, and that's what they're doing. They still have daily struggles. There's a struggle for them with whether or not they'll have water. They collect rainwater, but for running water, they are using too much water, is what they were saying. It's an orphanage. There's 20 children there, and there's adults. How much laundry that is, and baths, and brushing your teeth. Just everything. So there's any day there's a fear that they're going to lose their water. They're trying to dig a well right now, but it's not like here where we was like, hey, you know what? Let's just pool our money together and have a guy show up and dig a well. That just doesn't exist there. There's a guy they found that can do it. He says he should be able to do it. Doesn't know when he can do it. So they're working on that, but there's a huge cost to digging a well. It's amazing. Some things down there are crazy cheap. Like two 20-ounce sodas was like 90 cents. That blew me away. But then the piece of land that the orphanage sits on next door that they're building it on, 2 acres, 2.5 acres, was $30,000 down there. And so like that part just blew my mind. Like all the things to build, and it's $20 to get a backhoe for an hour, but it's $30,000 for land. But if you notice, it was right next to a bunch of sugar cane, which is a huge industry down there. When you go buy sugar at Walmart, that's where it comes from, right here. Well, part of it. And so it's a sugar cane. It could be profitable for that where they are. And so, but God is doing a great work down there. And so what we're doing, though, is just want to bless them. We just saw the need and want to continue to bless them. It was $1,500 for her to stay the night and take care of her kidney stones, and just no complaining. Just she's like, oh, God's good. God's good. It's all good. Takes care of us. But anyways, if you feel led or compelled to give, 100% of this that we're taking up is going to them. I don't know if you saw, we did a Christmas offering. We did a Christmas offering, and a portion of that offering we took and gave to the orphanage. Well, there was a picture that we posted this week that shared exactly that money. It was so cool. While we were there, Roger said, oh, hey, that's the Christmas offering. And it was 100 bags of 100-pound bags of concrete that we unloaded there, and that was going for the first portion of the roof that they're pouring. And so they've got three more of those that they need to do to complete the roof. Like I said, they're just going on in faith. And so we just want to bless them. I know that they blessed us. I hope you feel blessed that we get to be a part of this ministry. But I can tell you this, and so can 9 other men that are sitting up here. We all felt completely justified in the work that these people are doing down there. Would you agree with that? I mean,
David and Christine were blessed by these guys as well, and so were the kids. My parents told me that they've never seen David and Christina come out of their shell like they did this week with these guys, and as well as the kids. You guys opened up to those kids. We get groups in all the time. We have another group of 16 that they go down constantly with us. They've helped a lot on this orphanage, but you guys, they opened up to you guys and made a connection with you like they've never made a connection with another group. So thank you.
Yeah.
Christina watched the first service, and she said thank you, and that she loves you guys, and that she misses you already, and she's ready for everybody to come back.
Absolutely. So as we go, 100% of this will go to them. The work they're doing is 100%. It's amazing. It's
and you
amazing.
don't have to eat grubs.
No, you don't have to eat grubs. We ate good. We ate good. So anyway, I want to pray over this, and you're going to see an offering going around. If you want to help bless them, we're just going to send it all down to them to help finish up what they're doing down there. So Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus, thank you. Thank you that your arms are wide enough, that your love stretches far enough, God, that we feel blessed here. But Jesus, it's amazing to see across the world what you're doing in another country, that God, your love is just as strong, if not stronger there. God, thank you for the restoration that you're doing in these young people's lives. Thank you for the work that you've done. I can only attest it to you, your glory. Lord, it truly is beautiful to see. God, thank you that we got to witness it and be a part of it and receive a blessing in the midst of it all. But God, we want to be a blessing. Here's a need. God, let's do something about it. There's a need before us that we can help in. That God, thank you that we get to be a part of what you're doing in this amazing home. So God, use this in a mighty way. Bless it beyond measure. Move mountains. In your powerful name, amen.